Hi everyone! The other day my friend asked me to bring my supplies to make a finger puppet for her daughter, and she requested blue hair, and so then my daughter wanted one with blue hair as well. And so today I'm going to show you how we put together this finger puppet that has really long blue hair that my daughter later on gives a little bit of a trim a few times to her hair. So I was just showing you some of the supplies that we need for this project. I always use wool yarn and wool felt and these finger puppet bases that I buy from achildsdream.com. And of course you can always pick up these things from your local craft store. Michael's or Joann's will have similar materials that you can use. And so I'm cutting some really long blue yarn here, probably about 12 or 18 inches long. And then I'm going to glue a nice thick head of hair onto this finger puppet, and I gave the bangs a little trim. And I left the hair long and uneven because my daughter's going to trim it a couple times, and then I'm going to come back in at the very end and just give it like a nice even trim. So I have a lot of remnant pieces of felt left, not too many full sheets, and so my daughter went through them trying to pick a color that she wanted, and we settled on two different colors of purple, this kind of light color for the scarf or headband, and then a darker purple for her dress. And so I'm just going to adjust it here and make sure that it's big enough. And I kind of was a little bit sloppy when I cut it the first time, so I'm just giving it a bit of a trim here. And then when you put on hot glue for these kinds of little headbands, it's better to put the glue kind of in the middle. If you put it really close to the edge, it sometimes oozes out and then it doesn't look so great once it dries. So if that does happen, you can always take some really sharp pointy scissors and just kind of cut it out. And after, 6 months to a year of playing with these finger puppets, that bit of raggedy yarn hair just kind of masks any bit of glue that might have oozed out. So I'm just going to glue down the back in place. You don't have to do that part. You can leave the little headband loose so that it could just flip up if you wanted it to, but you do want to at least glue it down in one place. And so she's going through the bits of felt that I have left, trying to choose what color for the dress and the cloak, and we find this really beautiful rich purple color. And I don't cut a really large piece, and if you can tell, it's actually even crooked, but it's approximately 3 inches by about 2.5 inches, so it's a rectangle. And for both pieces, both the dress and the cloak, it doesn't actually cover the whole thing, which is fine. It's just the style that I'm doing these days, but you could definitely cut a larger piece that would just wrap around the whole finger puppet base and then just trim it down so that it's just flush with the bottom of the base. I tend to have my dresses and cloaks longer than the finger puppet base, and since it doesn't go all the way around because it usually has a bit of a gap in the back, sometimes the finger puppets tip over. They're not that stable, and so you might find it easier to cut the dresses and cloaks shorter and to have them wrapped around a little bit better. It's just, for me, I personally like them a little bit longer. And what I'm doing here, where I'm rounding the edges, that also makes it harder for the finger puppets to stay up straight. So I'm running out of lots of felt. I know it looks like I have a large stack on the side, but I am running low on my supply, and I decide to do this one asymmetrically. And that allows me to have a little square or rectangle piece left over for another finger puppet. So I like the look of an asymmetrical cape or cloak, but my daughter ended up not liking it as much. She's fine with it now. She's gotten about 4 or 5 new finger puppets in the last week, and she's just having a blast. I find that adding a new finger puppet here and there to our mix of puppets just kind of re-inspires her to play with them and just adds new characters to the mix. So it's always fun to do. And we've been making them for several years, so it doesn't take long to make at all, especially the really simple ones. So we wanted to add a bit of a decoration to her bandana and to her cloak. And so I'm going to put some beads along the top, and I just have this little dish here that I put these beads in, and then I'm putting the hot glue on it, and then I'm just squishing it into the beads. It turns out that they don't really stay put, and just after a couple of days a lot of the beads actually fell off. So either it's just not going to be a good way to put beads on, or it's just not, this kind of glue is just not a good adhesive for it. And then I also added a little flower button to the front. Yeah, my daughter's showing the last finger puppet that I made for her. Okay, so here's the finished finger puppet, and at the very end of this video you can see my daughter cutting the hair of this finger puppet, because now it's quite short, but it started out really long. And here it is, just in this little scene that I made for the kids. So if you'd like to see the complete playlist of all the finger puppets that we've made, you can click here for those videos. And if you'd like to take a look at our homeschool room tour, you can click here for that video. And if you'd like to see more pictures and all of my blog posts, you can always check out my website at pepperandpine.com. Alright, so here's my daughter giving the finger puppet a bit of a haircut. We start out with those long scissors on the right side right there, but those were too hard for her to use, and so I gave her these tiny little embroidery scissors, and they're quite sharp, but they also just are the right size for her. So she's just busy away. She had a great time doing this. She's just giving it a bit of a haircut. She's getting in the way a little bit there, but she enjoyed doing this, but she also wanted it really straight. So once it was all done, she wanted me to trim it off and make it all straight. But there she is, just having a good time. She did want to add flowers to her hair. She picked those out and she wanted to put them in her hair, but it just wasn't going to be a really long-term thing for her hair, and so we ended up just having the little button in the front that was a flower. And so she's just here just giving me all kinds of instructions. So cute. Little kids are awesome. Okay guys, I appreciate you sticking with me until the very end. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.